going double live here on YouTube as well. Hopefully it doesn't blow up the computer. Now you're looking at like double angle. I'm gonna try and go back and forth. And what I'm really hoping is that because I'm live on both things, we're gonna have a whole bunch of questions. I see 6 people in here. I see 7 people in here. Welcome to the live Q&A. You can ask me anything raw and uncut. You got me at least for as long as me. We'll see. Figure hour maybe. We'll see. Maybe people have questions. Maybe don't. So I'm doing this as a part of the Ultimate Raw Vegan Bundle Extravaganza, just as an extra little bit of a give back and connection with all of you guys. Really blessed that you'd spend some time with me and that you're interested to have some questions. If you don't know, now's time. You got to know that the Ultimate Raw Vegan Bundle is here and only till the 11th at midnight PST. This is ridiculous, coming together with a whole bunch of raw foodists and really excited people about health creation, coming together, sharing their absolute best. And we got like 40 books in there, e-courses worth $1,850 for just $50. So you can grab that in my link in my bio. It's also hopefully in the description of the YouTube. Hopefully I set that up right. I think I did. I've done this for a little bit, but welcome. The format of this is just feel free to ask questions. If somebody is in YouTube, just to test this and make sure that it works. Even to say hi on YouTube, I just want to make sure that the chat works. Such a pleasure, Cat. Oh, there we go. I see some on there. That's awesome. So I have slow mode on the YouTube, and just so that it doesn't go crazy. Let's see it right here on Instagram. If we have any questions yet, feel free, guys. Much love back, Jen Fish, Kip. Hi from Stockholm. What's up from Stockholm? What's up, Tristan? That's awesome. I'm over here in Malmo, absolutely loving it. Oh, here we go. So Jen Fish Kip. There we go. It says, are the ingredients in most of the recipes found at regular stores, or should we need more organic store nearby? Most of the recipes in the bundle are from, you can get them almost any grocery store. If you want to go to a specialized place and get really like super high quality organic or wildcrafted or whatever you like, great, absolutely. But the vast majority, there are some exotic ingredients in some recipes that you may want to go to a specialty store, but I'd say probably 95+% you can get in any place easily. You've been saying I've been having trouble meeting my calcium according to a chronometer every day. Well, that's a really fun topic and something that I can go a little bit into. Understanding that the RDAs are basically recommended daily allowances based on the average person on the average diet. And most people on most diets are eating a lot of more acid-forming foods. The more acid-forming foods you have in your diet, the more calcium you need and alkaline minerals you need to buffer that acidity. So in my opinion, the recommended daily allowances are in some nutrients bare minimums, but in some nutrients are actually higher than we require. So I like to kind of aim for that, but I'm not worried about not getting as much on some days. An easy way to boost it up is just to increase the leafy greens in your diet, and whether that means you just have a handful of leafy greens with every meal, slowly have 2 handfuls at every meal, or whether it means you do that and have a giant salad at the end of the day or green smoothies. A lot of things, even like oranges, figs, are really rich in calcium as well, so you can boost those up. But it's something that I personally don't worry about. I just aim to get as much fruit as I enjoy till I'm totally satiated, and as much greens as I enjoy, rotating it up, trying different ones until I feel totally like I don't crave salt anymore. And that way, you're going to be much more likely to be very nutrient sufficient. And again, just recognizing that those are recommended daily allowances for the average person. So I hope that helps a little bit. Hey, from Timberlake NC. Ooh, here we go. Wow, we got stuff going on here. So I'm going to go on YouTube, then I'll come back here. Hey guys, hello. Lynn Mercer. Hey Chris, I clicked on your link for the raw recipe app and it didn't work. Now I'm not sure where you clicked. But let me know where you actually clicked. And otherwise, you can just go to the App Store and write the Raw Advantage. It'll pop right up. And if that's the one that's not working, definitely let me know as well. But yeah, that's how you can get there direct. But please let me know what link you're having a hard time getting there with. So that'd be good. What recipes are in your bundle? Yes. So in my book. My book is called Cravings Buster Sweet and Savory Stews. Let's see if I have it on here. Probably do. Do you think so? And nope, I don't. But anyways, it's Cravings Buster Sweet and Savory Stews, and it's 21 of my favorite stews from around the world, made low-fat, raw, vegan, simple and easy to digest, utilizing ingredients you can find almost anywhere, really quick and easy. Thing I like about it too is you can actually do a lot of pre-prep, so you can find a stew you really like or find a few, pre-prep a whole bunch of the ingredients and utilize the tips in there to have them ready for when you just want to boom, put something together in like 10 minutes. So it's lots of fun. I got some real favorites. I'm going to be doing a bunch of food demos. So if you guys want to join me for some food demos on that tomorrow at 9 a.m. with Victoria out here from Sweden as well. I'm going to be making one of my favorite savory Irish stew. And then on Tuesday night at 9 a.m., I'll be making a raw Thai stew with Lena. And then on the last day with Chef AJ on her YouTube at 2 p.m. PST, I'll be making my raw vegan Ethiopian lentil wat stew, which is one of my favorites ever. Seriously, so good. Hi from Michigan. Greetings from Oregon. Hello, hello. Such sweet spots. Man, I love Oregon. Michigan, I know some good heads up there too. That's sweet. Marie. When was the last time you had cooked food? I had a bite of cooked food. When was that? Bite of cooked food of Camilla's. Camilla, my sambo, is a raw or a vegan chef who also does a lot of raw food. And sometimes when she makes something phenomenal, I've had a bite. But it's been long enough ago that I genuinely don't remember. I think it was last year. I don't think I've had a bite this year. Yeah, in the last few years, I've had more bites of cooked food than I had in the previous 15 years, probably. But that being that, in the last 4 years, Camilla had like a couple bites here and there over some of the years. The first 2 years, not even one bite, I don't think. And then, I think I've had like almost one full meal, but it wasn't really full meal because I had a big salad and I had like a piece of lasagna. That was it. Hello from Texas. Question, what are your recipes? I already answered that. Bought the bundle already. Candace, awesome. Is a dehydrator necessary? No, a dehydrator is not necessary for most of the recipes. There are definitely some recipes where a dehydrator is required, at least, for example, Lissa's wraps or some of the other recipes like pizzas, or in the appetizer book, there are some recipes that require a dehydrator. You could put it out in the sun in the summer, work a little bit, but not quite as well. And for a beginner one, I would say a Excalibur. They're the best. I'd just honestly say save up for them. They're not that expensive. I know that depends upon one's budget and stuff like that. But you can get an Excalibur for like $200 to $300, and it's well worth it. I would generally spring for the 9 tray and just save up a little bit extra and go for that rather than get the 5. But the 5 is awesome, especially if you're mostly doing it for yourself. And I gotta plug this in. And I'd also just look like online for used stuff in your area, like Kijiji or Craigslist or anything like that. That's really awesome. So do a couple more here, then I can jump back over here. How do you get over the gas and indigestion when going on raw food? It's been a real struggle. Hey, Elena. Really it depends upon what you came from as well as what you're eating. For myself, I didn't experience a whole lot, but I really came into raw food with lots of simplicity. And I slowly kind of went into it. So like I started with fruit for breakfast, and then I had a simple vegetarian or vegan lunch. I guess at first it was vegetarian lunches and the same for dinner. And then progressively I started adding in more fruit and greens, and it was a slow progression over years. And if you just go from standard American to raw food overnight, you'll probably have some digestive disturbance. Having some transition is really helpful. And what I've found typically helps is really simplifying, utilizing food combining, focusing in on the fruits. And if you're having some cooked food, then simple carbohydrate, and slowly turning up the greens and the vegetables. Typically, it's the greens and the vegetables that tend to give people the most issue. So I start with smaller amounts of those, more fruit, and then slowly build up. And it can really help to just simply have like a handful at every fruit meal and slowly increase that, because if you just have a giant vegetable meal at the end of the day and you're not used to it at all, well, yeah, you get some gas and indigestion and bloat. But if every single meal you just include a little bit and slowly increase it, then your digestive, your microbiome starts to adjust, and then that makes it a heck of a lot easier on it. So let's go over here from Timberlake, NC. What's up? Michelle, what's up, brother? Thank you so much. My pleasure. Michelle, what's up, brother? Thank you so much. My pleasure, Jen. Absolutely. Can we dehydrate by using an oven? It depends upon the oven. There are some newer ovens that actually allow you to set a temperature that is low enough to dehydrate it. So if you're lucky and have one of those ones, then great. And there are some older ovens that are gas powered, and they have a little pilot light. And the pilot light is just warm enough to dehydrate, and it's not going to be as efficient or as steady of a nice temperature that you want as a good quality dehydrator, but you can definitely dehydrate in there, especially for simple things like dehydrating fruit or tomatoes for sun-dried tomatoes and stuff like that. So either a brand new, super recent oven or an older oven, those are the ones you're most likely. If you have the one with the pilot light, oftentimes it's actually helpful to prop the door open with like a wooden spoon or something. And that's the last option. Is you can, if you're really tending it, you can just set it up to the lowest temperature with a spoon in the door and the door open. And shortly after it goes beep and says it reached the temperature, turn it off, and then just turn it on and off and on and off. It doesn't work super well, but it is doable. You can do that. Let's see. Yeah, Pierre in the house. What's going on? Yeah, that's what you're thinking. There we go. I love raw veggies like beans, cucumbers, peppers, carrots, but I have some stomach troubles. What veggies can I eat other than raw veggies? So again, what I really recommend if you do have digestive issues with that is, keeping it on the simple stuff in smaller amounts, the simpler stuff, and then keeping the stuff that's a little bit hardier, like the beans or carrots or broccolis and stuff, have them in smaller amounts, and slowly increase over the weeks, like just a little bit more, a little bite more every day or every other day, and otherwise focus in more on the really easy to digest fruits and the fruit veggies, cucumbers, tomatoes, and stuff like that are typically really easy to digest. Some other really good tips for that is to food combine. Make sure that you're paying attention to food combinations, especially if your digestion is not really good. And also pay attention to your emotions. If you're eating when you're stressed out, if you're eating when you're distracted, if you're eating fast, you're much more likely to have digestive issues. And what I generally recommend or practice myself is, if I'm feeling emotional, allow myself to feel that, and take some time and sit with myself and breathe. And if I don't feel like that, well, then move and get that energy out. Just let that get past that energy blockage. And then when you feel calm and ready, then sit down, make the food a meditation and chew it really, really well. Gandhi said, chew your drink and drink your food. And if you do that, I tell you, it can boost your mood. And it's also going to help you have much easier digestion. So those are the big ones. I have a food combining chart in my free app. And my book talks about food combining, and there's tons of recipes in the bundle that are all basic and well food combined, and you got to start there. Mono eating is really, really good. That's just eating one food at a time when hungry till full. Generally, sweet, juicy fruits work the best for that, so you can manage to get enough calories, and eating more meals like that really help to soothe and ease the digestion as well. So that's what I would focus on, and it's not forever. By doing that, getting to a place where digestion is a little bit more robust and slowly increasing the veggies and stuff like that, then you'll experience better digestion. Green or wax beans. Those are the long ones, hey? Yeah, I mean, some stuff is just a little bit better cooked, but some beans like that, you can freeze them. They'll get a little bit softer that way. But again, I just start with a little bit and go from there. Oh my, we're getting lots of questions. This is awesome. All right, so do a couple more here, then I can go back there. My buckwheat has the hull. I ate it, but find conflicting info whether it's okay to eat or not. Truthfully, I don't really utilize buckwheat too much. I use a little bit here or there in some recipes as a thickening agent and to make things more kind of breadish. But other than that, I think I normally would get unhulled myself, but it's probably not gonna kill you. And hopefully you didn't buy like kilos and kilos, but I apologize. That's not something I know a ton about, to be honest. Let's see. Yeah, Dan, what's up, brother? When you do a live, you look into the camera at the top or at yourself? It's a real question. I usually actually am looking at the person I'm talking to if I'm doing like I'm doing one with somebody else. Now, when I'm doing it right now by myself, I'm just looking back and forth at the questions. And then sometimes I'll look at myself, and that's kind of weird. But sometimes I'll look at the camera when I want, to look into your soul, really connect. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, I see. Indeed. Ooh, we're speeding through this. There we go. There we go. So we're done here. So we're gonna go over here and do you feel cooked food is addictive from Liz Roebuck? I don't really think necessarily that cooked food is addictive, but what I think is addictive is the change of state you experience when you eat cooked food, because it creates shifts in your experience where you may feel numbed out, you might feel more relaxed because it requires a lot more blood flow to go to your stomach. You may feel stimulated depending upon what the food is, right? It might be stimulating food, jacks you right up. So I think people kind of get addicted to it just like a child gets addicted to a soother or to a security blanket. It's like a numbing or comforting or like active love in the mind, like way back, right? Because when we're born and we're having a lot of trouble, we're crying, what do we get? We get breast milk, which contains opiate-like substances that calm us down. So we start to equate food with nurturing, with relaxation, with feeling more calm. I think that carries over, and we treat foods like security blankets. And it takes a while to discover that and to realize that we're probably better served by finding other ways to cope. Because we just utilize food as our best friend and as our coping mechanism. Whenever crap hits the fan, well, generally we get a little bit bigger and a little bit more sad, and it doesn't really work long term. It's just momentary pleasure and distraction. Whereas raw food is really hard to distract yourself with it. And if you're feeling heavy emotion, it's much less likely you're going to actually want to go eat watermelon when you're really distressed, right? You're going to want something heavy. So, but that's a really big topic to go into a lot more. Let's see. Kinghorn, do you base your raw fruitarianism mainly on Doug Graham or other influences you listen to? So interestingly enough, I actually really don't think the term fruitarianism is accurate. I don't use the term fruitarianism. I say I'm a raw foodist or a frugivore, which is our physiological design. And Doug, same thing. He says the same. I don't recommend pure fruitarianism, and I'm really big for definitions. And like a stringent definition of a fruitarian is strictly eating fruit, like just fruit. No greens, no veggies, stuff like that, which I don't recommend. And I've seen too many people have a hard time. It's a very tight line to walk. And while it can be done, I don't see any advantageous properties to it. And in fact, there are many, many advantages to including greens and vegetables into your diet. So Doug is definitely one of my biggest influences, one of my biggest mentors, a really close friend. I feel incredibly blessed by him. And I'd say that I'm definitely more in alignment with him than any other raw speaker, at least in terms of what I've learned and grown through. But I really take a lot from a lot of people who have been walking the path for a long time and who walked it before Doug. So yeah, I hope that kind of answers your question a little bit. Question, I heard there is a process of freezing before you do your recipe. Yeah, in a bunch of the recipes in my book, certain ingredients I freeze, I chop up and freeze, which what happens is the water in the vegetable or the lentil, for example, expands and ruptures the cell wall, which one makes it actually a little bit sweeter, and two makes it a little softer, more cooked textured, and easier to digest. So sometimes with people with digestive issues too, that helps a little bit for rougher, tougher vegetables like cauliflower or broccoli or even carrots and stuff like that. So that is utilized in some, but not all, and it's optional. But for certain ones, if you want it to be really authentic, flavored, and textured, it's a really game-changing technique. When I first started doing it, I was like, wow, like this chili tastes legit, or like this cauliflower masala is like bam, like it's like cooked cravings gone, like any desire to eat cooked food gone, because it just feels the same, tastes as good, but feels way better in the body. So hopefully that helps a little bit there. You just got your 9 train, love it. That's awesome, Marie. That's awesome. Rural NC, awesome. Rocket sauce, I love that. Rocket sauce, it's all about the sauce. I want to share this YouTube with a friend, but will it be available to watch later? Yes, Lynn, indeed. It will be here on my YouTube channel forever. So unless, you guys trip me up and I say something really embarrassing, then I'll just take it down immediately and I'll run away, start crying. No, I'm joking. I'll be on here forever. So, hello, Mahoney. No way. Mahoney. No way. Is this a Mahoney I know? Mahoney? Hey? Yeah. Spooky. Hi, do you do fasting? Earlier on in my journey, I did do fasts ranging from 1 day up to 11 days was the longest fast I did. I think I probably did about 12 fasts in total over a, gosh, I don't know, I guess stretched out over maybe like a 8-year period, something like that. I've been researching health and getting into this stuff. Started, I think, first, maybe my first fast was in 99, 2000, somewhere around there, 2001 at the latest. But I haven't fasted for a long time, and really what I aim to do is just live in such a way where I don't require a fast, and create a really healthy lifestyle that is not only sustainable, but feels amazing and just leads me to reach higher levels of health all the time. And that's really what I try and do. So fasting can be incredibly helpful. I'm not super into intellectual fasting, meaning I'm going to set this day and I'm going to go and do a fast because I want to solve this. Instead, really what I'm more in favor of is body-initiated fasting. And that's what I've more recently done for like an afternoon. It's like if all of a sudden food isn't appetizing at all and genuinely you don't want food and your body's just calling for a break, just sipping water and relaxing and breathing and doing some light movement to help lymphatic flow. And then when hunger returns, then eat again. And in the last couple of years, I've had a few times like that. I think I might have had 1 day where I didn't eat. Maybe it was a 1 day fast where I just genuinely wasn't hungry. But that's generally how I do that myself now. See, I'm about to start soon, 1 month. That's awesome, honey. That's awesome. I went from vegan to heavy processed vegan to raw overnight. Appreciate you and everything you do. I really hope that helps you then, Elena. I've learned how to not emotionally eat, and that has been difficult. It is really, that's one of the biggest keys, honestly, is learning to be with and accept that life is hard and uncomfortable at times. And when you really go to a high vibrancy raw food diet, it's going to shine a bright light within you, and the cobwebs and the gunk and the junk and the stuff that we didn't deal with, the stuff we pushed down physically, mentally, emotionally, it's going to come up, right? So be prepared for it. There's nothing to be afraid of, right? It's like those things are there to be felt and experienced and grown through instead of pushed back down to ferment and get grosser. Leave the fermentation to other stuff, not in your body, right? So I do have a video that goes even deeper into this and has some really cool tips. So if you go onto my YouTube, which you might be on right now, and you may also just go on my website and write in emotional and binge eating, and it'll pop up a video that says emotional and binge eating, finding peace and ease. And it goes really into that. It's a subject that's really near and dear to my heart because I'm definitely and have been an emotional eater. And I see it as a huge avenue for growth. And I tell you, when you come to that place of just realizing that, you aren't your emotions, things just flow through you. And usually it just takes like 10, 15 minutes if you allow it, if you're not resisting it, if you just breathe through it. And, you find yourself on the other side lighter and brighter and ready to eat and to enjoy fully in the moment instead of utilizing it as like a coping mechanism. So really, hopefully that helps you a little bit. What kind of fast, how long? So I did answer that. Would you say that Vitamix is the best blender to use? Vitamix is by far my favorite blender to use. Absolutely. The only caveat there is I do also like vacuum blenders. So I have a BioChef vacuum that I also put on my Vitamix. But, for quality, they've been around for over 100 years. And the, for the quality, for the amazing, called warranty, like they have a 7 to 10 year warranty. Which is really, really good as well. And the tamper where you can really get in there, make the thickest sauces and nice cream, chunky stuff, stews, all that good stuff. I love the Vitamix, definitely. Bless you, Justin. Appreciate that. Appreciate the love. Spooky, do I eat honey? I don't do honey. I can't get behind it. I can't recommend it. It's one of those things. While I do have some friends that are beekeepers and they specifically have hives for certain types of bees, and there are multiple types that do create honey, but there's also tons of types of bees that don't create honey, but still do all the pollination, actually more than ones that create honey. And while I do have friends that do that, I recognize if I was to be eating honey and even if I the most ethically sourced it possible and made sure that they weren't smoking them out and they weren't killing them or they weren't clipping the queen's wings or they weren't stealing all their food and leaving them with sugar water and any of that stuff, even if I got the best stuff possible, I know that other people would see me eating honey. They would see me mention it or put it in books, and they'd go to the general grocery store and be supporting an incredibly cruel and horrible industry that actually is not helpful at all. And people raise honey up and think like, well, we need to save the bees. Well, we're going to save the bees better by not having honey. You know, the honey is for them, and also having more honeybees all over the place. You know, to try and create more honey, it actually hurts the other bee populations because then there's more competition for them. It's like we're farming bees and putting all these bees into the population, and it diminishes the other types of bees, which are, you know, they deserve to be out there too. You know, it's bee vomit, guys. That's what it is. You know, yeah. It's one of the only foods like McDonald's that doesn't rot. You know, sure it tastes good, but there's other stuff like dates that taste just as good and don't have that same connotation. So no honey for me. I don't recommend it. Could talk on that a lot longer, but we'll go faster. I'm into doing shorter fasts, dry water for a few days. Yeah, I think that can be helpful. I'm not into dry fasting myself. You know, for efficient detoxification, body requires a certain level of hydration. When we dry fast, basically what we're doing is making our pond a scummy mess, which is really intense and harder on the kidneys and harder on the liver. And you know, I have some friend actually, I guess, who passed away, and it's pretty suspect. You know, he had scarred up kidneys. He was huge on dry fasting. He had like major kidney damage and died in complication with dry fasting. And he was like a 40+ year fruitarian, you know. So yeah, I don't recommend dry fasting. Fasting can be helpful, and yeah, shorter fast can be helpful. And when body initiated or when someone has a chronic illness, longer fast can be incredibly helpful. But again, I'm huge on the lifestyle, you know. Catch a cat, yeah, also explained. I hope whatever that was about, I don't know. Let's see. How do you conquer salt cravings? I truly love the flavors of living food, but I miss salt so much. Help. That's a fun one. You know, I mean, stews. Yeah, my stews. I honestly, like, I'm not kidding. I'm not just trying to pat myself on the back, but stews, green smoothies, green juices, barley grass juice powder, just eating some greens, tomatoes, celery, all those things. You know, some people, if they really have it, you know, they're really used to salt. It takes a little while of ramping up the organic sodium from plants in order to bust those salt cravings. And for some people, having like a celery juice in the morning really helps. For other people, just including greens at every single meal helps. If you want salt, well then yeah, just eat more greens. You know, I used to eat just meals of tomatoes, and that helps, especially if they're really good quality tomatoes. And I love barley grass juice powder. It's the only thing that I sell as food, like a food product, or is considered like a nutritional adjunct or almost like a supplement, because I love it and I utilize it. And it's really, really rich in sodium and a lot of minerals and stuff. So I do have that on my website. You can check it out. Other than that, there's also a product called green salt, which again is going to be organic sodium rather than just rock salt, and it's all the types of salt out there otherwise. And it's pretty cool stuff too. It's just sea asparagus dehydrated and blended, and it's a naturally really rich sodium plant that is pretty neat. You can check it out. I think it's called trygreensalt.com. I actually have a coupon code for it. It's CHRIK5 for 5% off. So those are all the ways that I bust salt cravings. Have you found you need less food over time as your body optimizes? Not really. You know, I mean, when I'm in the tropics, I'm eating incredible quality food. I notice that I need a little bit less because it's just incredible quality. And if, you know, if you're eating incredible quality food and you're digesting well, sure, you're going to require a little bit less. But in my experience, in my coaching experience, in my, you know, conferring with other people who've been doing this for 40+ years, and, you know, consulted thousands and thousands of people and seen people thrive and fail and come and disappear in the raw food movement. It's not something that is really seen to be a big thing, not at least not in the sense of like massive differences in requirements of food, maybe a couple hundred calories here and there. But a lot of times that also ends up kind of relating to your lifestyle. If you start the lifestyle and you're super active, you're running around all the time, well, you're gonna need more calories. And if you become a little bit more chill and a little bit more relaxed, both in your mind and in your heart and in your movements, well, then yeah, you're gonna need a little bit less. But in my experience, it's overblown when people say like, "Oh, I only need like 1,000 calories now." Bull crap, they're binging. That's honestly my opinion, and I've seen it behind the scenes with people more than a few times. So that's my thought. Let's see, Mary Grace Brand Bandit. Want to hear either? Yeah, anything on the face and poops. For me, exactly. Just let them be. You ever made date paste to have later heard of wanted date paste? No, I don't, but I've had date paste before. But most of the time I leave my dates as is and, blend them into smoothies or into dressings and stuff like that. And, then I don't have to worry about it maybe going off or anything like that. Shalom. Have a good one, Spooky. Thanks so much. Do you do your own sprouts? I do a little bit. I've had long periods of time, like years, where I had no sprouts whatsoever. Maybe even a decade almost with no sprouts. I used to sprout in the early 2000s, like a lot. And when I went raw, I kind of dropped sprouts and just focused on whole greens more. I was just more naturally attracted to them and a little bit lazy. But I do enjoy sprouts from time to time. And the ones I like actually truthfully the most are like lentil sprouts. I like those. I've been enjoying Suzuki sprouts from time to time now, and there's some in the Cravings Busters sweet and savory stews. Mung bean sprouts, I like those sometimes, and sometimes chickpea sprouts, although they can be gaseous if you do lots. So I do those a little less often and in medium kind of quantities. But if I'm at a buffet or if I am at the grocery store or if someone serves me up some sprouts, I'll eat the heck out of them. I think they can be really delicious and super nutritious. And to me, the big thing is just what do you enjoy the most? It's if you enjoy them, if you enjoy growing them, if you enjoy eating them, then eat the heck out of them. They're super, super nutritious. But yeah, I'm going a little bit overboard with that one. Let's see. Fermented foods. I rarely do fermented foods. Same thing, like in early 2000s before I started raw food, I used to, make my own sourdough bread and, make my own sauerkrauts and kimchis. And I used to do a ton of that stuff. And then for well over a decade, I completely let go of all that because I really went first into really simple, hygienic raw food. Basically just mono meals, perfect food combining, super low fat and almost no recipes for the first 5 years. And then I started kind of experimenting a little bit more fancy stuff. And these days, I wouldn't doubt that it's a couple, maybe a handful of times a year that I have some fermented foods. And more often than not, it's, with groups of people for potlucks and stuff like that. Or just an on occasion that all of a sudden I'm just like, hey, I kind of want some of that, But most of the time, it has salt in it, which I generally avoid. I used to really stringently avoid it. These days, more so, it's like I don't add it to my food. I don't utilize it. But if someone has some fermented food or makes a dish that has it, or again, on some auto occasion, I want to buy it and have some or go to a restaurant, then I do. I can make my own too, fermented without salt. I've done that in the past too, but not something I do regularly. What did you eat for breakfast? I had a honeydew mandarin smoothie. Yeah, that was awesome. All right, we're done here. We're gonna go back here, and let's see. Oh wow, yes. Oh wow, we got a couple here. What's up? Much love. Yeah. Hey, pineapple juice. How you doing? Been a little while. How you doing? Jen Goose. See, man, you've been busy with a lot of videos. Love to watch it when I'm watching. Plain old hottie. Hey, what's up? I remember you from the last live. Yeah, I've been doing a bunch with this bundle. I've been doing like 2 to 3 a day. It's kind of funny, right? I've been like on a hiatus, like barely doing a video every 10 days pretty much. And behind the scenes doing a lot more work. And yeah, but now it's go time and then try and get into a more regular flow time after that, right? We'll see, but I'll probably need a little bit of a break after the bundle. Let's see. They'll all stay up here, and I'm trying to put all my Instagram videos over here too. So I'm trying to sprout barley and eventually blend the grass and then start to strain it. Wondering if it would come across barley grass juice powder since it probably takes a lot. Yeah, what I used to do too, I actually have a video called Unlimited Free Green Juice. And any grass works. It doesn't have to be barley grass. It doesn't have to be wheatgrass. It can be like any of the varieties of grass. Any type of grass is drinkable. You don't want to just put it in your mouth and chew it and swallow it. The fiber of the grass is really intensive or intense on the stomach and digestive tract. But you can take any grass, just walk along as long as it's not peed on or like lots of, dust and debris and pollution on it right by the road. But if you have some grass in your backyard, you can just let it grow and gather it and cut it off and put it in the blender with water, blend it, and then I just put it through a nut milk bag and you get some watered down green juice. And, when I'm walking along sometimes and I'm thirsty or I'm just like feeling it, I just grab some grass, put it in my mouth, chew it really well. It's really good for the teeth, really good for the gums, really good for the jaw. Chew it super good. Drink out the juice, spit out the pulp. It's like it's a grass shot. You can do it anywhere. It doesn't have to be from a shop. But of course, you can get really high quality stuff at a shop, or if you grow it yourself, right? But anyways, yeah. So it depends. I mean, if you have a lawn, if you have a place, like you can have unlimited grass juice. Like whenever you mow the lawn, take a handful out of the bag, or better yet, just go out there and cut it yourself. You don't have the lawnmower going over it, but you can make your grass juice with that whenever you want, instead of needing to grow up a tray inside or anything like that. So that's a lot of fun. And otherwise, I mean, I'll admit people wouldn't guess it, but I'm pretty lazy with food and food prep and growing stuff. I like to just pick it and eat it. And the barley grass juice powder, I know it's grown on really, really nutritious soil, nutrient dense soil, not nutritious soil, nutritious for some stuff. And I just find it super convenient and really, really tasty. Just putting a tablespoon of the powder in my banana smoothie. That's my favorite way to take it. And that's what I used to do sometimes with the lawn grass juice. I would just, take a couple handfuls of grass and blend it with water, strain it, and then I'd blend that with bananas and have like a grass banana smoothie. Hey, it doesn't have to be expensive. It doesn't have to be hard. Wild edibles, all that stuff. You can get a lot of greens from, foraging in the right seasons and knowing what you're doing and getting from the grass and all that stuff. So it's kind of fun stuff. Hey, let's see. You're returning your dates. They look moldy. That's not fun. Yeah, and be careful with moldy dates. It's good to check them before you eat them. Like open them, and if it's black moldy, don't huff that. I know some of you huffed that. Just like, no, they didn't do that. Accidentally did. So and then and it wasn't good. It actually kind of messed them up a little bit. Do I have a large garden? No, actually, I do not. I've planted a bunch of fruit trees out here in Sweden, and I do have some tomatoes and stuff, but I'm kind of bopping around and just apartment living. And I'm not a huge gardener. I appreciate gardeners. I appreciate gardening, stuff like that. And I sometimes help my parents, or when I'm at the farm of life, I help in their garden. But I'm more of a purchase really good stuff from other people who love gardening person rather than a gardening person. We'll see as the years turn if that switches, but that's truthfully me. I like cities. I'm a city boy. I like the more in the city and then occasionally out in the nature. Hard to ferment without using salt. Indeed, it is. A little trick for that, what you can do is you can actually juice a sodium-rich plant like celery or bok choy and use some of that as the water to push in and make sure that goes above the vegetables. And the sodium content of the juice from the celery or the bok choy does the same thing. You just got to watch it a little bit more because it's a little more prone to turn. But I've successfully done that more than a few times, and delicious, and then salt-free with organic sodium. Let's see. I get lots of muscle cramping around my ribs, arms, and legs when I go fully raw for a leg at a time, which only going back to cooked food relieve them, not a salt eater. Any ideas? It's really, really hard to try and generalize with something like that. And I can't really do that, in a format like this, because I need to know more about your personal history, what you're eating before, what you're specifically eating when you're doing that, your mind state, your emotional state during those times, all that stuff. So for like really personalized questions like that, this really isn't the format for that. But just so everyone knows, I do offer consultation by donation, and I'm honestly not attached to the amount donated. I've had some people donate like a bag of flour, and I've consulted some people multiple times over the years and never got a donation. I'm not encouraging that. I appreciate donations, but I'm not attached to them. So I offer those. I'm not going to be doing any until after the bundle. But if you really want to dig deep with something like that, fill out a form and get some history on you and talk one-on-one, then I do offer that. I also have comprehensive coaching packages for 1 month and 3 months, and my Raw Vegan Lifestyle Success System is a 10-week online course, which also includes either one-on-one or group coaching, which can go really deep into stuff as well. Which brand of barley grass juice powder do I recommend? Yogi Pierogi. I love it. Yogi Pierogi, what's up? I love Terrasol barley grass juice powder. That's what I use myself. I tried a whole bunch of different ones. I came to enjoy the Terrasol the absolute most, and also I became a wholesaler of them. So they have the most amazing prices. Most other brands are like almost double the price, and don't taste as good, aren't as consistent, in my honest opinion, fully honest opinion. So that's the brand that I use. That's the brand I have on my website. And yeah, give it a try if you haven't tried it. I love it. I love it. Actually, crazy enough, I just actually ordered 44 pounds coming now. And 10 of those are going to be for me, which is for a while, and also maybe some extra to sell to people out here. The other 30 pounds is actually for some friends that I know that I'm kind of hooking up. Gardeners appreciate people who don't. Absolutely, it's so true, right? It makes the world go round, doesn't it? It absolutely does. And I used to feel a little bad for it. It's like, no, that's who I am. I like to eat. I like to buy from people who are really enthusiastic. I so appreciate them, and yeah, I don't mind having my hand in the soil. I do it a little bit, but yeah, the people that they want to garden for hours a day and like learn all that stuff, bless them. I love them. Thank you so much. Like, that's amazing. Yeah, I do go to Malvern Storget, and also yeah, Trustin, and also I go to Zia Frucht, and I go to Abdos, and I go to Luca Foods, and Ika sometimes, and a bunch of places, but definitely Molan Market and Zia Frucht is my favorite. Those are two of my favorite. What's up, Jen? Hey, Sandra. Hey, welcome. Oh, and we're done here. We're going back there. I love this kind of back and forth, and there's like no blank spots, right? So let's see. Thank you, love in chat. Subscribe to receive all your notifications. YouTube, thanks, Lynn. I appreciate that. Yeah, thank you. It's my pleasure. If you guys like this, maybe I'll do some more lives, and with other people, and maybe some more of these live Q&As and stuff like that. It's fun. I have some really cool videos coming in the next little while. So if you're not subscribed yet, you're going to want to. Let's see. Thank you so much for your creative and accessible recipes and for kind open information to newbies. Thank you for the bundle and all you're doing. Macabelle, my absolute pleasure, honestly. When I first got into raw food, I was very graciously helped by the one and only Dr. Graham, who was very generous and completely changed my life, and other people who were very service oriented and very kind and helpful, and they helped streamline what was a little bit of a faltering false start. And yeah, so I just want to pass that on and make it easier and grow this community. It's the world really needs it. The world really needs it. So helping people to raise up their health, it's a beautiful thing. I feel really, really honored to be in the position I am and be able to help people, and have learned from so many people before me. Tips for helping dates to not cause so much mayhem when blending the Vitamix. Well, I mean, what you can do, the simplest thing for that is just to pick them and then soak them overnight. Just put them in the blender at night, and the next day they're super soft. It's like, that's done. The other thing is to try to get the softest date you possibly can. And that helps too. The other thing is just to close the ears, go to the other room. Those are them. Nicholas, I don't speak English. Sorry. I'm sorry. I don't speak every language. I have an auto translator. I know a little bit of Espanol, a little bit of Swedish, a little bit of French, but very little of all those, to be honest. I'm happy I'm here. My dad is sick. Pain in the right side of the tonsil for a year, and pain in the tip of the tongue. A palpable lump on the tonsil. Terminal neuro block, jaw strict fast, and raw food. I'm sorry, I really can't, specifically do any recommendations for stuff like that. I don't know that condition. I don't know your father and his personal history or anything like that. I mean, in general, of course, adding more fruits and vegetables and reducing the highly processed foods, oils, junk foods and stuff like that really can help, getting some movement, getting some fresh air, some breathing, nose breathing, and, positivity in life, all those things, the major aspects of health creation helps a heck of a lot for generally everyone in every condition, but I can't give like super specific advice on stuff like that. And I mean, plant-based, it also just comes down to like, what is he willing to do? Like really too, like I can talk to Blue in the face about what I think is the best thing, but really comes down to like, what is he willing to do? And if he enjoys it, because if he enjoys it, he'll be more likely to stick with it. I'm definitely a big proponent of lifestyle, and whether that's a simple whole foods based vegan lifestyle or an all raw vegan lifestyle, it comes down to what you enjoy, what you're willing to do, and moving in a direction of just holistic health more and more. So those are the basics. Those are definitely the basics. Hopefully that helps. Found your app. Thanks. Oh, there we go. I hope you love it. Absolutely. Thanks, Lynn. Hey everyone, Fifth Element. I love that movie. Hello. Is that you on there? No, it's like a Barbie on there. Salt Girl here. What about miso paste? A lot of people are really into miso paste. I would probably say it's among the better kind of sodium salt sources because it does have salt in it. I would still personally much rather utilize the green salt or celery or more tomatoes or stuff like that myself. I notice things like miso, they kind of become habit forming and have the same negative qualities that I experience when I have normal salt, but it's just a little bit better. I'd say it's kind of in a similar place as like maybe something like coconut aminos or something like that, which, I think a big thing to say here is like stuff like that isn't going to be what makes or breaks your health. Like you can be on a really healthy raw food diet included, and there may even be some health benefits potentially. I know some people really talk about the fermentation process and the microbiome and stuff, but again, it's not going to make or break your diet. And if it helps you eat more raw foods, that's great. That's absolutely great. Myself, I don't feel like I need it, and I feel a little better not having it, so I tend to stray from it. But again, it's kind of like I mentioned before, if I go somewhere and it's in a recipe, whether it's at a potluck or something, or on the odd occasion I've had it myself, I don't, oh my God, I got to lash myself. This is bad stuff. I don't think of it that way at all. I just feel better without it. I notice I enjoy the subtle tastes of fruits and vegetables more when I don't have really concentrated salt products in my diet. So, yeah. Let's see. I mentioned the goat colostrum before. I don't remember that being said there. Colostrum. Yeah, no, I'm not in favor of goat or cow stuff. Besides, like, I'm just prancing around, loving life and doing their own thing. Definitely not condoning or recommending colostrum or animal products. What thoughts on urine therapy? It's an interesting subject. Read the major books on it. I have friends who've done it for decades and had major talks with them. I've tried it before, maybe 7 years ago for a good week and a little bit. I'd rather not have piss breath, to be honest. I'd rather not. People who've done it long term, I haven't seen anything magical from them. I'm sorry. Yeah, I don't know. To me, it's an out channel, and irregardless if there's some things in there, there's some things in poison ivy, there's some things in this plant over here, this succulent that it's always a balance, right? It's always a balance. I'm not interested in it. Power to people if they really are, but to me, it's nonsensical. It's against intuition. And it's just coming from like a kind of like an over intellectualization, kind of like what is it called? Yeah, I'll just leave it there for now. Maybe I'll do a video on it at some point, but yeah, it's not for me, and not something I recommend people do. Let's see. Thoughts on ashwagandha? If any other supplements you feel are very helpful to add. I have some friends that have used it and really found benefit from it. I tried it myself. I actually have a bag here. Perhaps I didn't use it enough to see benefits from it, but I didn't notice anything. I tried taking it for about a month regularly. I didn't notice any difference. Yeah, so I mean, I can't really speak too much to it. I've read the literature, and there is evidence of it being beneficial for certain things. For muscle building and for libido and for testosterone and stuff like that. But I never really had issue with those in the first place. I was just curious, and I was going to the gym a whole bunch, and I didn't personally notice anything. So I can't really say too much, but I do know some people who swear by it. Yeah. Did you see my message about vascular dystonia? No, I didn't at all. I don't know where that is. I don't know how I missed that because I've been trying to scroll. Mention it again because I'm not seeing that anywhere in here. Yeah, I don't see that at all. Let's see, where are we? Let's get back down here. That was awesome. Had for years dabbling with food. Books and things. Oh, Mechabell, appreciate it a lot. Yeah, I try really try and put all my best out there, and there's a lot of stuff, over 100 free recipes in my free app, and you can get my ebooks on there for like 30% off the cheapest price on my website. So it's, because it is a little different. I can't cross it over, so it's not like if you get a book on my app, you also automatically get the ebook. They're separate products, so I made the app the most affordable just because a lot of people already had my books and they wanted the app. So but I have a lot of fun stuff in there. I have my food combining chart in there. I have my shopping cart in there, so you can actually go to recipes, click add to cart, and you can create a shopping list. It's a lot of fun, and I'm really happy to hear that you're finding it useful. It was an investment. I'll be honest, you wouldn't believe it, but I sunk over 20 grand into that app, and took years to get back, and I feel really blessed by it. But wow, it was took a big investment. It took me many years to be able to save up to get the app in the first place. It's multiple re-editions, so it wasn't just all one go. But yeah, Borzabig, why you live in Sweden, cold climate, mostly imported stuff. Wondering about moving somewhere. Honestly, I don't find much difference whether I'm here in Canada in the tropics. Yeah, sure, a bit. I like the weather in the tropics for certain things, but actually I like the weather in a temperate climate more for certain things as well. I feel a little bit too rubbery for skateboarding and too hot for skateboarding in the tropics, and skateboarding is much more important to me than being in the tropics. I like being a nomad and traveling around, but that's your question in succession. I'm in Sweden because I met a girl from Sweden and followed her here and slowly becoming Swedish. I'm not super worried about imported stuff. I recognize that getting imported fruits here is actually better for the environment than getting virtually any other choice I could possibly make. It's the lowest carbon footprint of any food is fruit, even if it's imported. A lot of the stuff here, it's like quick imports or otherwise on boats, which has like a very low carbon footprint as well. And as far as the quality, I'm getting great quality out here and good prices. I mean, doing it this long, I don't know. I love it here. My plan would be to be here at least like 8 months of the year and travel other places when it's the coldest, like it's really cold, which isn't really cold, like +2 to 10 here is like the winter a lot of the time. Sometimes it gets down to like -5 or 10. But in Malmo itself, it's pretty chill. I'm used to -40. I used to work as a raw vegan in -45 weather and -50 weather at the worst in the Arctic. And when you know what you're doing and you're getting enough calories and you have some activity and you dress warm enough, it ain't no thing. Most of it is mindset. And I recognized that I had resistance towards winter, and I felt like I wasn't enjoying life as much because I wasn't out skateboarding and stuff. And a shift in perspective made it a heck of a lot easier. And so hopefully that answers that question a little bit. My pleasure. Doing my dangest to just tell it as it is, as I see it anyway. Plan to return to raw. Kudos. That's awesome, brother. Just incorporating more and more raw foods is awesome. Enjoy it. Sweet and juicy life is the way to go. I have a close friend also named Chris who met a Swedish girl in NYC almost 15 years ago and has been in Gothenburg ever since. That's awesome, Rocket Sauce. That's awesome. It happens. The Swedish girls, there's something. That's crazy. It's crazy. It's awesome out here too. It's a common story. Almost any time I'm out here, people ask like, "So how did you come?" Like a girl, like of course, like that's generally it. It's that or like school or something like that. But yep. So here, we're gonna go back over to the Instagram. Wow, we've been an hour on here. Wow. Okay, we'll do a little bit more. Love the live. Thank you, Cash Cat, Rachel. Hey, I'm scrolling back here, and you got okay. There we go. I know where I am. I'm going to catch up. You were vegan before and transitioned to raw vegan. How do you do this? How did you do this? Yeah, that's true. So in 1999, I read a book called Fit for Life, which outlined basically a direction towards a fruit-based, simple, high-carbohydrate diet, but it also included simple cooked meals. It talked about food combining. It talked about the benefits of keeping it low fat. It talked about a bunch of stuff. And from 99, I started eating fruit for breakfast. That was one of the big things, food combining and fruit for breakfast. I can honestly say I probably had about 5 or less cooked breakfasts since then. I just was like, fruit for breakfast, this is great. And it worked. It felt good. There's even a period of time where I was still like drinking and smoking and eating whatever, but after being drunk at night and having a hangover, I'd have like a meal of fruit for breakfast and it would help cure the hangover. And I was like, hallelujah. And eventually it led to dropping that stuff and including more and more fruit and vegetables. And it went from fruit for breakfast to fruit for breakfast and lunch. And then it went from fruit for breakfast, fruit for lunch, and then fruit before my dinner and like sweet potatoes and stuff for dinner. And then eventually I went vegan. I dropped off more and more stuff. It was about a 4.5-year transition from junk food, drinking, smoking every day to basically raw till 4 straight-ish, like high raw vegan. I was vegan, high raw vegan for 6 months. And then I met Dr. Doug Graham, went 100% raw overnight. And that was now just over 19 years ago. So that's my story in a short one. Miss Uli, what's up? Hey. What are your favorite foods to keep you satisfied? There's lots of them. Whatever's in season and really good quality, honestly, that's the easiest answer. But the most consistent, and not necessarily my favorite in terms of just like very strictly flavor, but I love them still, is really just like bananas, like a banana smoothie. And part of that's just because they're available year round. They're really filling, very satiating. I do love them. Like a Cavendish banana smoothie is probably my top 10 meals of all time. I just love it. I feel great every single time, and I can get super full and satisfied for anywhere from $1 if I'm in the tropics to up to like $4 if I'm getting prices that I would rather not pay. But it's pretty common for me to have a case of bananas on the go. And otherwise, I don't feel like bananas. Like when it's persimmon season, I'm banging those persimmons like crazy, And when it's what is another one? When it's mango season or when it's nectarine season, then the bananas go down a little bit. It's just depends. I really like to make at least half of my calorie intake a really good priced, high calorie sweet fruit. And for me, I generally aim to try and keep my my main fruit supply below $2 a pound. That helps me save a lot of money and feel really good about it. And also, hey, what are you doing over there? Stu. And then I'm gonna have to check her out. Make sure she's not peeing in the box. Stu, get down. What are you doing? I'll just check that out after. But yeah, try and keep that. And I mean, if I can do $100 a pound, then I'm even happier. And oftentimes bananas are a bit cheaper than that. So yeah, they're a favorite staple. Cherimoya is probably one of my all-time favorite flavor foods. Durian too. Cherimoya, durian, tomatoes, mangoes, jackfruit, cherries. I don't know. Yeah. It's hard to beat any of those when they're in season. They're really high quality. I'll swear that it is the best thing there's ever been. Like Easter happy dance. Like I don't know any other food besides really good quality fruit that makes me literally just like buoyantly happy, like want to dance while I'm eating it. It's just like it's the best. Yeah. So those are those. Let's see. What food satisfy you the most? What's veg satisfy? Well, I mean, I guess fruit veggies, like tomatoes, they're technically a fruit, right? But my favorite veggies generally greens like Napa cabbage, bok choy. Those are probably my 2 favorite greens. Super nutrient dense. Often some of the cheapest ones too, and really easy and quick to prepare. Some of my absolute favorites. I love cauliflower, bloom call out here. Really delicious. Often I freeze it, put it in my curries and stews and stuff like that. Laura, do you see my comments? Well, I just read that last one, so hopefully, yeah, I'm just going back and forth between YouTube and here, so it's taking a little bit to get to some of them. Let's see, we're gonna catch up here. Don't you just love cats? I freaking love cats. I am a cat man, I'm a Leo. They melt me like none other. Yeah. Snooter, you are so good, even though you maybe beat that. I don't think you did really. So let's see. Oh, here we go. We're gonna have a lot more questions. So just so you know, we're at the top of the hour. I'll answer a couple more questions here. And if you have anything that you are curious about, type it in now. We only have 4 here. Questions there, 5 questions there. and no more new ones here. And once I run out, I'm just starting to blather. Well, then I'm gonna say, you know what, this is it. So you still have retreats? If yes, where and when? Nadine, what's up? Thank you for that question. That's very kind of you to ask. Yeah, it's been a little while. After motorcycle accident, I took a break, and then with the CVID thing, couldn't. And then when it got to a point where it's possible, I didn't want to take the chance of, trying to fill something up and have something happen and need to tell everyone to, cancel their flights. And, it wasn't appealing for a little while, and I was also just focusing on behind the scenes stuff. Got lots of stuff going on with my website and the bundles and all that. But to answer your question, yes, I will be doing retreats in the future. Loose talks about one possibly next January in Costa Rica. And, ideas of maybe doing stuff out here myself in Sweden, maybe at some point, but nothing set, and it may not even be in the next year or so, might be more down the road. And then also just being a part of others' retreats at whatever capacity they wish me at, whether that's speaking or chefing or yogaing or just hanging out and having fun. Those are all things for the future for sure. So are we going to be able to watch this video again? At the beginning, absolutely, Nadine, you can. Yeah, absolutely. You can see me sweat with those first troubling questions that I just faltered on and probably going to be canceled. Yeah. Oh, it's been a good run. It's been a good run, Thanks, everyone. Thank you. Let's see. What do you do in circumstances where people offer you cooked food and you have to say no? How not to seem rude? That's a great question. And the way I really generally approach that is to say, like, thank you so much, I'm okay. We really don't have to explain anything. People say no to food all the time, and we don't have to go, oh, I can't, that's gross, or like, oh, I can't, that's burger on a plate, or oh no, like, no. It's like, oh, thank you, I really appreciate that, And if they persist, if they make it a bigger deal than that, then I can explain and be like, you know what, like, I really appreciate the gesture and the love behind that offering. And I'm sure you took a lot of time, or, it's just something that's really amazing. But, right now what I'm doing, this just doesn't fit within what is important to me. And, I'm having a hard time with it. It's actually challenging because that looks so damn good and I'd like some, but I feel a real need to stay on this path that I'm on right now, and I'm just, can you support me in that? If they're a friend, then they're more than likely going to say, yeah, of course, like, sorry, I don't want to make it harder on you. It's often, it really just comes down to heartfelt, honest communication, being vulnerable, and making it about you and your needs and having appreciation for them and what they're offering, and that can bring you closer and bring more understanding and maybe bring them to ask genuine questions of curiosity, which may kind of plant seeds and get them thinking, right? So that's how I like to approach that. But it depends who it is. If it's a friend, like, screw you, I don't want that, But often we make it harder than it needs to be. And, just really simplifying it is often super easy, right? Like, oh, thank you, I'm good, And otherwise, just being open and vulnerable and heart-centered, and literally, again, really coming back to your feelings and your needs and asking them for support and understanding makes all the difference, I tell you. What made you never go back to cook food like the last time you went off the wagon 19 plus years ago? Like I said earlier on, I actually mentioned that in the last couple of years, I've had more bites of cooked food than I had in the previous 15 years, but still we're talking about like a handful or 2 bites in a year for a couple of years. My Camilla, she is a vegan chef, and when she's made amazing things, or for example, like the first time, this will actually surprise some people, when what was it, Beyond Burger came out, I was curious, I had a bite of it, I was like, what the heck, I wouldn't mind trying that. Like, it doesn't make me a bad person. I don't feel like I failed raw food. It doesn't make me feel like, well, that last 18, or I guess it was probably 17 years at that point, that last 17 years, back to square one, I'm only 2 years raw now, like, I think there's too much guilt, too much shame, too much superiority in some sections, and even I've had in myself. Like, I've been in a place where I felt like I was less than if I had a bite of cooked food, and I know that nothing I can say, do, or eat diminishes my spirit, my self-worth. And it took me a long time to get to that point, and getting to that point made it so that if I did choose to have a bite of cooked food, it had no emotional component and no guilt around it. And then it lost the pull to have more of it. It's just like, oh, that was an experience. Okay, move on from there. Whereas in the past, when I had guilt around it, when I had judgment around it, when I judged myself for it, well, what does that do? It brings you down more. And then when you're lowering your emotion and your vibe, you're going to be drawn to more foods that really strengthen and connect on that same level. So it often ends up in a downward spiral, right? So that's not even what you asked, but that's what came out of that. So hopefully that gives a little bit of insight and help, and makes it easier on you, because I tell you, I hated myself for some of my earliest binges and eating food, and it's like nothing in the world is worth that. Nothing in the world is worth that, and you're amazing. So amazing no matter what you eat. It's not going to make you a better person. It just changes your experience. It makes it lighter and brighter and easier in so many ways, but it also makes it more difficult because it asks you to to face your emotions and to face old things you push down, and take some time. And that's a journey, and it never stops, right? So let's see. I'm from BC. We're in Canada. What's up, Melk? Hopefully I'm pronouncing Malik Mohammed. That's awesome. BC is the best, man. I'm not sure, probably. But I love BC. I'm from Saskatchewan. I lived in Edmonton for years. I lived in Vancouver for many years. But Toronto a little teeny bit. But BC is awesome. Where in BC you at? I love it. Sometimes I accept the food and say thanks, but don't eat it. Take it to go. Yeah, do the old put it in your pocket, or just put it in your pocket. Put it in your pocket, or just put it in your pocket. Yeah, you can definitely do that. Like feed it to the plants. Do a Jerry Seinfeld move. Yeah, there's many ways of doing it. Like the way I look at it is like, some people are going to be butthurt no matter what you do in life, and I'd rather someone else feel disrespected, even though I mean zero disrespect. Like, because in some circumstances, people just they think it's super disrespectful not to accept food. Truthfully, I'd rather them feel that than disrespect myself and go against what is my truth. And it wouldn't matter to me if it was like the president or Mother Teresa or whoever it was. If they offered and I genuinely don't feel like it, I feel very fine saying thank you very much. I appreciate it. I'm okay right now. And if they can't accept that, that's on them. It has nothing to do with me, like nothing, So that's where I'm at, and it feels really damn good. And on the other side, though, if someone has some cooked food and I genuinely in my heart am interested and want to try it, I'll try it. Just like I said, in the last couple of years I've done that, and truthfully, it actually only strengthened my connection to raw food, because I have it, and when there isn't a buildup around it, when there isn't guilt around it, when I'm just clear and conscious and in acceptance and having it, 99% of the time it's not what I imagined it to be, and raw food just serves me so much better. So so for me that really helps. Do you think brewer's yeast is okay daily? Kind of addicted to it. Brewer's yeast, that's for bread. So I don't know, like, if you mean having bread, and I don't know what you mean by okay. I mean, different versions of okay. Okay for what? I don't like to have foods myself that create that kind of addictive tendency where I feel like I'm just like, gotta have it, and like thinking about it, like I've been in those hoopties way too much with cigarettes and alcohol and some dairy products and stuff like that. And I'd rather have foods that love me back and I just genuinely enjoy, is like love, but don't feel drawn to them in that kind of manic way. To me, that's a sign that something's going on, So again, it just all depends on what's okay and what your goals are and, where you're at. So yeah, thanks again. Looking forward to live demos. Bless you, Lynn. I hope you enjoy them. I'm excited for more of them. What makes you happy and what makes a good life in your opinion? What makes me happy is, wow. I mean, good food, good company, sunshine, like the simple things, the really simple things, like seeing my cat, seeing my friends smile, seeing people smile as I'm walking down the street and smiling at them, like seeing energy be passed on. Being of service and genuinely feeling like I'm making a difference and helping people. Skateboarding makes me so happy. Moving, sleeping, hot baths. There are so many things. I know there's so many things. What makes a good life? I think, yeah, I think having a passion and a purpose, having something that you want to get up and do, I think that's probably one of the biggest things, having love in your heart and connecting with other people. I think that's it. It's all individual, right? It can look like so many different things. Chilliwack, what's that? Yeah, I've been to Chilliwack. Cool. I love the valley. I've spent some time in Nelson and Kamloops and Soyuz and a little bit of Summerland and yeah, a couple other places. Love it out there. Hey, Devo, what's up? Going back here. Going back. Thank you. Great answer regarding offered food. Something I've thought about a lot over the years. Betsy, bless you. More than my pleasure. Absolutely. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. I agree, Melt. I just love cats. I just love cats. Okay, so we're back there. I'm going to catch up here. Do I feed meat to my cats? I do some soft food, which is meat product, and then just a good quality kibble. And I feel okay with that. They're carnivores. Cats are truly carnivores. And while you can feed them a vegan diet, I don't feel like forcing my ethics on carnivores necessarily congruent, with what I believe. But anyone who likes to do that and feels good, I think, is amazing, and that's great. Where does she work in Malmo? Can go and sample her food if possible. So when I say chef, I don't mean that she actually works full time as a chef, but she is taking chefing courses or recipe books. She works at a company called on the spot. What is it called? It'll come back to me. It's a big food company, and she works with the organic line of it. Mine saying Lockhead, but that's not it. 100%. It'll come, but yeah, it's really cool. She's actually designed some of the soup containers and some of the granola bars, health bars. Healthy organic kind of food is really her thing, and it just keeps on dancing off the tip of my tongue. But it'll come back. Let's see. Joined. Oh, we're caught up there, I think. Yeah. Thanks for the Q&A. More than my pleasure. Modern Word Elf, what's up? Bro, you look like a slim version of basketball player Max Scheller. Google him. He's like David Bowie eyes. It's funny. I've lost 15 pounds in the last 15 pounds in the last month and a half. Making my book and working behind the scenes with the bundle. Just been so dang busy that when you get in that flow, that inspired flow, you're just going and you kind of neglect your physical needs a little bit. I haven't been to the gym as much. Before that, I actually had a little more muscle. I got some. Yeah, I'm still not doing too bad. But yeah, I lost a bunch, and I can see my six pack even more. But it's not something I'm concerned about. And it's not even that I think you're saying that, but that's what my mind thinks. I've lost a fair bit of weight. I look way thinner than I did a month and a half ago. But after this bundle, I think I'm going to get in a more regular routine and be at the gym a little more. And yeah, put on a little bit more to hold just a bit more weight, just a little bit more weight. But I'm going to check him out. I'm actually going to Max Scheiser. I'm going to copy that and I'm going to open a window. Can you still see me, guys? Let's see. Hopefully you can still see me. I didn't just ruin the live. There we go. I'm back. Yeah, what's going on, Jung-Soo? How you doing? Good to see you. If you have a question, let me know. We're running out of time here. Do I write standing up? No, I don't. I write sitting down. I've done standing desks. I've done exercise ball. It's not for me. It's for some people. It's not for me. I prefer to sit down and do it in pieces. And ideally, I do it, for 45 minutes to an hour, and then I get up and do something, move around. I like to kind of do the stretches and stuff like that. And I do these every once in a while, and I like to work with a little bit of music and get my groove on, do some kind of bouncing and stuff like that. I get a little bit, but yeah, I know some friends who do that and swear by it. Not my thing. Any tips for quitting alcohol? That's a great one. That's a really great one. One is actually just to consistently get enough carbohydrate, and that helps boost serotonin, helps you feel more even kiltered, helps you just feel more satiated and happy and good in general. A healthy diet. Bananas are like B vitamin sticks, and you drink a lot, it depletes your B vitamins. So eating meals of bananas, it actually really replenishes a lot of the stuff that keeps you kind of in a cycle of being driven towards more alcohol. So fruit, that's fruit for the win. And otherwise, self-introspection and just look at what you're trying to avoid. Most of the time, most of the time people drink when it becomes a problem. They're drinking to avoid something. For me, drinking started as a party, like a genuine party, and it was like fun. And I was like doing it to be around people, and eventually, not to be around people, to enjoy time with people. And then eventually, it became like, I don't want to feel this. I just want to be drunk. And yeah, some introspection and looking at what you're trying to avoid, and if there are just things in your life that you're totally ignoring, right? And yeah, being with more like-minded people, like it takes some time away. Like when I quit drinking, I didn't hang out with some of the friends that drank for a period of time, especially when they're drinking, and specifically when they're drinking. I didn't go to bars and stuff like that. I just put myself in different situations, and I asked those friends to meet me other places, and get some movement in your body. All those things really, really help. But with the big things like drinking or smoking and stuff, it's usually the first few days that are the worst. And then the first week to 2 weeks is like pretty crappy and not fun. And then after that, it gets a little bit easier and it gets a little bit easier. So sometimes it's just gritting your teeth through those hardest moments. And then the little kind of things pop up, like, your first time where you do go to a pub because that's the only place you meet your friends, or you're at a restaurant, or someone offers you stuff, or you go to a picnic, or you break up, like all those kinds of things. It requires a little extra grit, a little bit of extra self-love and introspection, and also a little bit of extra acceptance and self-love, no matter what you choose, and recognizing that most people have a little bit of swaying, right? Things are seldom a straight line. Sometimes it's just a dance. And the more aware you are and the less judgment you have of yourself, the easier time you're going to have letting go of those things that don't serve you. Make a meditation of it. It makes it a heck of a lot easier to let go of when you're really trying to be conscious of it, So hopefully that helps a little bit. That book, or not the book, the video that I have on my website, emotional eating and binge eating, finding peace and ease, it can kind of go into the same subjects and give you some extra tips on that. So yeah, I thought you meant nutritional yeast. Yeah. Nutritional yeast, there are a couple things there. Jennifer, she was kind of saying that she feels driven towards it and wants it all the time. I don't consider nutritional yeast a health product myself. I think there are much unhealthier choices out there. But I don't consider it a health product. To me, it's actually, well, it was 100%. It was a byproduct of molasses production that they decided, hey, how can we utilize this? Like, what can we do? They're using it for animal feed, supplement as animal feed. There's some of the B vitamins in it, but they also then thought, oh, hey, we can market this as a health food that kind of tastes cheesy, and it has some vitamins in it. But what a lot of people don't know is that most of the vitamins on it are actually synthetic spray vitamins. It's actually supplemental vitamins. The B12 is not naturally occurring. It's a synthetic B12 that is sprayed on there. And it's got MSG-like chemical makeup that kind of stimulates and overexcites, and it can cause major issues for some people. And yeah, so some of the things with that, like I remember I abstained from it. I never had it. I used to love it a lot when I was vegan, before I went raw vegan. And then I went probably about 12 years or so, maybe not quite, maybe like 10 years without it at all. I never touched it. And then I tried it, and I was like a drug addict. I was like, oh my God, I love it. Like, I was like, literally, I found myself in the middle of the night going towards the freezer where I kept it and taking a spoonful, thinking I was a bad kid, right? But what I realized later, why I was driven towards it, was I was B12 deficient. I was actually clinically B12 deficient, and the B12 that was in it was like giving me something, and it made the stimulatory kind of MSG-like properties as well. But I'm pretty sure it's the B12, because after supplementing B12 and getting back to borderline, becoming clinically deficient and symptomatic, that never felt the same with it. I could take it or leave it. I use it in a few recipes, and it's kind of like other stuff I mentioned, salt, or even something like olives or stuff like that. Like, I'll have it on an odd occasion, but it's not a regular thing by any means. And I noticed some negative qualities from having it. So yeah, it's just a choice and experience that I enjoy sometimes, but not a regular part of the diet. And so that's one thing. So it could be either MSG-like properties, or it could be the B12 if you are low on B12, if you don't supplement B12. Um, those are the main things that I've seen, and otherwise it could just be you just love the flavor, but usually there's more to it. Usually there's something either in the vitamin mineral kind of components of it, or otherwise how it interacts with your microbiome, or if it's just stimulatory in nature. Those are the big things. Hey, what do you do when the fruit and veg variety is bad? Living in Czech Republic and it gets worse in winter. Where in Czech? I'm actually half Czech, and I love the Czech Republic, and I love Prague, one of my favorite places. I have a good friend, Radioslav, who lives in Prague, and I don't know for sure if he is anymore, but for a long time he was a exotic fruit importer, and he get the best quality fruit in Prague, like top quality, not always inexpensive, but top quality. So he might be someone to look at. I think he had a restaurant that had raw food and other stuff, but he was doing that. But what are in the fruit variety and the bad? I'm pretty darn good at sourcing fruit, and I mean sometimes it is just that month of the year where it's like okay bananas and kind of okay citrus and some old apples and stuff like that. And, in those times, I just do the best I can. Sometimes I bend a little bit more to date smoothies. Sometimes in those times when the fruit isn't good, I get dates and make more date smoothies, get up half my calories from a big date smoothie for lunch, sometimes with barley grass juice powder, sometimes with celery, sometimes with romaine. And then otherwise I make big cravings buster stews. It's in the bundle. Yeah, I haven't even mentioned that for a long time, the bundle. It's in the link below. If you haven't got it yet, it's time. It's time to check it out if you haven't seen it. It's ridiculous. It'll blow you away. I'm not kidding. If I had this resource when I first started raw food, it would be like a running start and would have saved me so much time and so much growing pains through it. But that's my story. That's my journey. It's amazing. But I'm just really, really happy to be able to share this with you guys, because I know it can make a huge impact and just arm you with a plethora of recipes and information and guides and stuff like that can really help. A lot of curries. I make a lot of curries and stuff. So in the winter, when it's a little bit like that, sometimes I lean a little bit more on some fancier recipes. Sometimes I eat a little bit more fat. But the big thing I find is shifting my focus. Like food is just one aspect of health. And if I'm focusing on how crappy the food is and how disappointed I am, well, I'm going to experience lower vibes and be bummed out and it's going to suck. Well, instead if I go, hey, well, that's what it is. I'm going to do the best I can. And let's focus on exercise. Let's focus on connection with my friends. Let's focus on deep breathing. Let's focus on being creative and creating things that help other people, like focus on my pet and doing some cuddles. Let's focus on some hot baths. And, it's all where you put your focus, So when it's a little bit less, well, guess what? People are eating gruel and people are eating crap. And it's seldom on any diet that every single meal is the best meal you've ever had. But for some reason, a lot of people think, and I've felt it myself, that when I'm on a raw food diet, every meal's got to be the best thing ever. It's like, it's just food. Really, it's just food. Like, yeah, do the best you can, It's rare that I find like completely nothing, or that like bananas are so bad that I don't want to eat them, It's like, yeah, I don't know. I hope that helps. I think those are some big ones there. Send a link to your new bundle. So it's actually in the description of the video. It's in my link in bio on Instagram, at the Raw Advantage. And where else is it? Yeah, those are the main places, but it is in the description here. And if it isn't, go to any of the videos before this on my YouTube channel, and there's a link in the description of all of those. So check it out. Seriously, I know you're gonna be blown away. Prague, yeah, you're in a sweet spot. Yeah, it's awesome. I really hope. Tell me if what I just shared, can help a little bit. But I'm assuming it's very similar there to here. The winter, of course, is a little less abundant, but exactly what I said. I did a little more date smoothies. I did banana smoothies a lot. I did more curries, more stews. Been pretty lucky though. But here I've been pretty lucky. And sometimes too, it just comes down to really being a produce hunter. Like I'm a fruit hunter, like go to the different ethnic marts and find different places, that have different things and talk to them about different foods they can get in season, and, look for wholesalers, and, you may be surprised, And and sample food. Asking people like, hey, I'm going to buy a box. Can I sample this? So hopefully that helps. Let's see. I'm going back here. So much. Raw advantage is such a massive help. Oh, my pleasure. Thank you so much for saying that. There we go. Do you sit on a chair or on the floor? Okay, maybe I'm sitting on a chair. Oftentimes, if I'm like say watching TV or just chilling, I prefer the floor. I sit cross-legged, but I have a desk, and yeah, it'd be kind of neat to have a cross-legged desk. I'm gonna try that sometime. But you got to have it right so that the desk goes just over your knees, right? That'd be pretty cool because then you could like lean and put your knee into the desk and really twist. And yeah, so yeah, that might be to the desk and really twist. And yeah, so yeah, that might be fun to do. Let's see. This is fun, guys. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate you guys spending some time with me and asking these questions, and all the love shared, and respectful comments and stuff like that. So I really appreciate it. This is lots of fun. Let's see. How many bananas today would suffice for B12? Well, bananas don't have B12, so you can eat 1,000. You're not going to get enough B12 from it, but they are rich in most of the other B vitamins. For B12, I actually do take a supplement, and that kind of goes into the next question. How do you know if you're vitamin B12 deficient? The best way to do is to get a blood test, to get a serum B12 test, or otherwise a UMMA, urinary methylmalonic acid test. Or an MMA test, actually. Those are the two that are the most common, which is a methylmalonic acid blood test. You get that, and then to confirm whether it's accurate or not, you get a homocysteine test, because if you eat seaweeds, spirulina, nori, dulse, what are some other ones? If you eat nutritional yeast, then all of these products I just mentioned, they contain analog versions of B12, which they bind to receptor sites in the body, but they don't actually activate. They don't actually transfer that cobalt to be able to create B12. And if that's accurate, doesn't work. It just blocks the receptor sites. It's a very bare understanding of it. And so you can have like a UMMA test, and in your blood they can see lots of B12, but it doesn't differentiate between active B12 and inactive B12, so that you can get a false positive saying, oh, you got lots of B12, but if you're eating like I said, nori or spirulina regularly, well, that's not actually necessarily working, and because it binds the receptor sites, can actually lead to lower levels of actually utilized B12. So the homocysteine test, what it actually shows, which is pretty cool, is if you are actually deficient in B12 being active and actually working in the body, then homocysteine is elevated. So getting both of those tests is helpful. I did, done loads of blood work. I think past 19 years raw food, I've done, I think, 7 blood tests. Like some every year. Then I went a couple of years without and did them again, just except for B12. Over the years till it was like I think year 10 of raw food with 0 supplements whatsoever, where I got symptomatic and started really stressing out all the time, back pain, stuff like that, and I was clinically deficient. So I started supplementing. Yeah, it helped, really helped. Then I've seen people who were so anti-supplement that they got to a place where they had permanent nerve damage and can't walk perfectly anymore, and have numbness in their fingers and don't have the sharpness that they used to. It's nothing to mess with. Mrs. Sunshine, let's do this little Mrs. Sunshine. I enjoy your comment. Thank you. I appreciate that. How tired are you approaching halfway through the bundle? Hey, we're almost there. That's crazy. I'll be honest. Behind the scenes, I may not look busy when you're just watching my stuff. Sorry, I don't show everything, but it's been quite busy. I've been up to, working till 2 to 3 a.m. every night, and then falling asleep because I'm so kind of not falling asleep till 4 almost every day, but then needing to get up to do other stuff in the morning. I'm pretty tired, but the thing that's really good is my level of vitality before the bundle was pretty damn good, and I gave myself an abundance of sleep. I was sleeping as much as I wanted all the time, and so I'm feeling pretty darn good. Very, very honestly, pretty darn good. but I know by the end of the bundle, I'm gonna be like, all right, I'm gonna sleep in. I'm gonna take a little bit of a social media breather, like probably a little bit of my stories, maybe a little thing here or there, but relatively from now to then, it's gonna tone down, So thanks. Is there a company to do home tests? None that I know offhand. But you can just generally go to your what's it called, your personal doctor or whatever that's called, or go to like a walk-in clinic. I guess it depends where in the world you are. If you're if you're in the United States, it's going to cost money. If you're in Canada or somewhere like Sweden, you can probably get your doctor to do it for free. So that's what I've done. Let's see. We're caught up there. Are we caught up here? No. Found out the brewers yeast is better than nutritional yeast. I can't speak to that. I've always heard that brewers yeast you don't want to eat, and that it's for making bread, and it's active. It's not something you actually want to eat. At least not like straight like that. You can use it with with flours and to raise bread and stuff like that. But never heard that nutritional yeast is an inactive yeast and is sold as a nutritional product, whereas brewers yeast is sold to raise bread. So he is really yellow from it, so I'm getting too much. But yeah, I mean, I can't speak to that. Like I said, everything I've ever seen suggests against that. But it's not something I've ever been drawn to or researched in super depth, so I can't really comment on it. When's the documentary coming out? I don't. What documentary? Let me know. What do you mean? What documentary? All right, guys. Hello. Welcome. If you guys are just getting here, and if you guys have been here for a little while, I will mention again, the Ultimate Raw Vegan Bundle is here. It's only here until the 11th, then it's gone. We only do this once a year. Every single resource in it is brand new, never before released. It's launched in this bundle and will never be put together like this again. There is the appetizers book, which is an appetizer, raw food appetizer book that everyone contributed to, put their favorite recipes in there. And that is specific to the bundle only. We don't even sell that outside, which is almost crazy. It's almost sad, but it's a collector's edition, amazing book that you can only get when you get this. Any two products pretty much in there is worth $50. Definitely any three is worth $50. And it's over $1,850 worth of stuff in there for $50. It's ridiculous. I really invite you guys to check it out. It's a screaming deal. And my Cravings Mr. Stew book, it's going to be $20 when it's done. I think Lys's rap book, I believe, is going to be $30 when this is done. There's courses in there worth $300. It will go to $300 when this is done. It's really absurd. And whether it's raw food or fitness or yoga or mindset, or self-love, or just wisdom from people who've been walking this path and really, really in touch with themselves. Limitless potential to grow, limitless potential to show off really delicious raw foods and create appetizers for friends and family that will maybe give them a second thought about including more healthy foods in their diet, get them kind of sparked up and seeds planted. It's just lots of fun. I feel really blessed to be a part of it, to be a little bit of a fire under it, and to be inviting so many people to come together and share their passions, and grow this community. The world needs it, like I've said, and I just feel really blessed. I hope you guys check it out and enjoy it. Bought the bundle 2 days ago and love it. Stoked to hear that. That's awesome. Greetings, Sophie. Phone box, let me know what documentary you're talking about. And if anyone has any other questions, have you ever cheated? I don't cheat. I make conscious choices. In my first 5 years of raw food, I'm at 19 now. In my first 5 years, I did cheat, and I treated it like a cheat. And then I came to a place where I said, I can really time. It doesn't make me a better or worse person. And I wanted something. I made the conscious choice to have it. It didn't serve me, and it made it a lot easier to let go. And I treated it like that instead of feeling like it was something bad and made me a bad person. So I don't, in the last couple of years, I've had some bites of cooked food, as I've mentioned, and I don't consider it a cheat. It's just, it's a conscious choice. Chris, do you eat or wild bloomed rice? Yeah, I figured. I've had it 2 or 3 times in the last 5 years, I think. It's tasty whenever I've had it, but it's not something I'm really drawn to. It's neat. It's a pretty cool texture. It's a little bit more hearty. A little bit more stick to your ribs kind of feeling. Really neat flavors. It's definitely something that if somebody made it and served it to me, I would eat it up and really enjoy it. If I see it in a store and it looks good quality, a good price, I might even buy it and do it. But it's not a regular part of my diet. I think it's like the healthiest rice out there. It's pretty cool, unique ingredient. It's really cool. Plant-based life, what's up? How you doing in Ontario? Where are you at? That's sweet. All right, well, I've been shameless enough here with some of the bundle extravaganza. Is it really that time? In an hour and 40 minutes. It's been a lot of fun. So smart. What's your background in school? That's kind of. It's funny. I used to feel like if someone asked me questions about skateboarding, boy, I was a smart kid. If someone asked me questions about raw food, I felt kind of smart. And for times I felt like I could only talk about those subjects. So outside of it, I'm not, right? It's drilled it into my head so freaking much. It's been such a passion, and something I've been really interested in. Read hundreds of books at least, and thousands of hours under people, and self-exploration. So it's just sharing the stuff that has been drilled into me and I've learned through experience. But yeah, thank you so much. My background in school, I was pretty smart in school. I was able to maintain like a high 70s, low 80s average in high school without studying. I didn't study except for one exam in all of high school. I skipped grade 11 in science. I skipped grade 11 chemistry because I did so well in the grade 10 chemistry. They sent me right to grade 12. And I didn't take any extracurriculars. I only took the essentials, and that allowed me to graduate a whole half of a year early. And I moved up to Vancouver and lived with like 9 dudes in the 3-bedroom apartment eating like instant noodles, samosas, and McDonald's, and drinking 40s and smoking weed. That's not even what you asked, but that's my background there. And then I just skateboarded for a bunch of years, and I didn't know what I wanted to do besides skateboarding. But eventually I started falling apart because of that lifestyle, and that brought an interest in nutrition. And I was self-taught for a number of years and wanted to become a vegan chef, but there's no vegan chef schools that were really going on in 2003, except for one that had a vegan chef component, but I required you to eat meat and cook meat. So I didn't want to do that. So I went into nutrition. So that's answering your question finally. Went to school in Vancouver, Canada, starting in 2003 to 2004, called the Canadian School of Natural Nutrition. It was a 1-year full-time course on holistic nutrition, and graduated from that. That's what I got my designation as a registered holistic nutritionist. And it was halfway through that schooling that I met Dr. Graham and begun mentorship under learning from him, some directly and some just absorbing all of his information and absorbing information that he had gleaned from other people. Like his people inspired him, like T.C. Fry and Shelton and some of the older hygienists and stuff like that. So that's that. And then also from there, after my motorcycle accident in 2018, I enrolled in Mastering Raw Food Nutrition with my other colleagues, good friends, Dr. Rick and Karen Dina, which was a 1-year course as well. And that really went into specifics about the science of raw food nutrition, and really going in depth, like a college level course specific just with raw, which a lot of it I knew, but there's a lot of stuff I didn't, or that I was expanded upon from what I knew and just more in depth. Not just a nutrition nerd, like I said, long time. Just I used to always read, one book on nutrition, one fantasy book, and one on like spirituality or kind of like esoteric kind of stuff, and always had 3 books going on at all times. And the funny thing is, since I started the Raw Advantage, I pretty much haven't read much books. I'm on a computer talking with people and reading articles and stuff, but not as much books. Just a couple fantasy books, and paging through some nutrition books, like newer stuff that comes out. But yeah, and the bundle books. I can't read those, but yeah. But well, thank you, Wanda. Yeah, thank you, Wanda. Yeah, thank you, Wanda. Appreciate that. Let's see. Which one could study raw food, low fat in university? Couldn't you and Dr. Graham open one up? Actually, Dr. Doug Graham has an amazing CLC program. He teaches people how to be like a raw food coach. And but I think he's recently just actually working on expanding and fine tuning that. So he'll have something, I think, in the near future here that's even more specific for that. So yeah, Dr. Doug Graham and Dr. Rick and Karen Dina would be probably, I guess, the three raw food focused schools that I would most highly recommend. Absolutely. Their information has lots of carryover and some specialization in each, and they bring so much to the table. And if you really want to be super confident, know inside and out, and be able to share it and help other people with it, whether it's a career or whether it's just for fun and passion, couldn't recommend either of their schooling high enough. And if you want to just specifically do it for yourself and get a super good base understanding, my Raw Vegan Lifestyle Success System is a great course that really covers it all in a holistic sense and is the most in-depth essence of all of what I've learned and grown through, shared there, and with a lot of kind of interaction with the consultations too. Let's see. Parents very academic. Wow, fun questions. Wow, we're gonna go for a bit more here. My dad, freaking sharp. He's so freaking smart, and my mom's smart, but she's also like the biggest heart in the world. So I think I was so blessed by both of them. I love them both so much, and I think I got the best of both of them. But yeah, my dad's a lawyer, lifelong. I'm so smart. Let's see. Take time to learn to speak publicly. I never wanted to speak publicly ever. Like, this stuff terrified me. I was the kid in high school that when the teacher would say my name, even if I didn't have to do anything, just said my name, I'd have to say like present. I'd turn beet red and want to cry every single time. And if they'd ask, I remember very distinctly, we were supposed to walk in front of class and read a poem that we wrote. And the nutrition raw food was zero intention of doing this, none. It was just so that I could skateboard more and heal faster. But it changed my life, my perspective, and enlivened me so much that it became my purpose. It became crystal clear the day I went raw that I was like, this is what I'm here on the planet for, to share this. And altered my course, and it became my life and eventually my livelihood. And with that, I was asked to go on stages. I didn't ask to. People asked me, and I rose to the occasion and pushed through the discomfort, and was well responded to, and continued to grow in it, and to have more fun with it. And I'd be lying if I said it was easy or comfortable all the time. Sometimes it's more, but it's like anything. The more purpose you have behind it and the more practice you give to it, the easier and better you get at it. And I do enjoy it in many respects, but I'm still terrified of it. Sometimes keep it at arm's length. But I don't like to say no to opportunity to help people and to potentially help change someone's life. It's the best feeling in the world. Which fantasy books I've read a lot. Like all the Tours and all the Lord of the Rings, the George R. Martin books, and all the Harry Potter books. That's some of the last ones I read, and what else? There's so many damn good ones. The show that was on that was just amazing, that had the worst last season, got Game of Thrones. I read all those books, and I read so many when I was younger. I read all those, Cast a Minotaur, like so many. I say, yeah. What's the easiest 12 supplement? Is there one weekly option? It varies. There's you get a shot supplement once a month. I don't need those often. One like a shot once a month. Most of the supplements, especially if you're deficient, you're going to be taking every day or every second day. Because your body can only absorb a small amount. Not like you can take super ease, 100 milligrams, and you're going to absorb all 100 milligrams. You're actually going to be taking 1,000 milligrams and absorbing like a couple milligrams. So that's why it's all the time, because we're used to just getting little trace amounts, and naturally climbing trees and picking fruit and eating stuff that is out there, not washed, and just like has bacteria and has B12 on it, or be drinking water from natural sources and streams where animals went to the bathroom somewhere around there, and the bin stuff is blowing in the wind and it's in the waters, or we maybe wipe our bum and pick something and eat something, maybe just a little bit on our finger, just a small smidge. It takes like the a pin, like just a pin, like the smallest little bit. But we produce B12, it comes out in our doo-doo, but like, yeah. So anyways, we're used to evolutionarily just be getting a small little bit all the time, and that's why most supplements just take a little bit. They overdo it. They make it a lot more just to make sure, but most of it just piss out. So, but yeah, there's the most common ones are either methylcobalamin, which a lot of people recommend. That's what I've done a lot of the time and most often. And then there's also cyanocobalamin, which is markedly cheaper, has a longer shelf life, like pennies a day, like super cheap, and and all of them work. I mean, there are some people that don't work with the methylcobalamin, but it's a small percentage. Some people require a mix of methylcobalamin and adenocobalamin, studied, and it's been shown to be the most effective. That's just what the studies show, but people are concerned about it because it has a cyanide molecule connected to it. But it's in such a small amount. I'm personally not concerned. But I'll take either cyanocobalamin or methylcobalamin or a mix of methyl and adeno. But I found all of them work for me. So yeah, hope that kind of answers your question. What are those schools called? Well, Mastering Raw Food Nutrition. That's Dr. Rick and Karen Dina. If you just write Mastering Raw Food Nutrition, Dr. Dina, it'll pop right up. And then Dr. Doug Graham, his website is Food and Sport, food, the letter N, sport.com. And he's got loads of information on there. And when his thing comes out, it'll be shouted about a whole bunch. Hey, Chrissy, what's up? Well, you guys are trapping me. I'm trying to go here, but luckily I'm full. You guys are lucky I'm full and I don't have to go to the bathroom. Otherwise, I'd be like, I gotta go. Heartwarming to hear you speak about your parents. So I'm super blessed by them. It's one of the hardest things about being out here is being away from them and my family and my good friends back home. I'm just doing what I'm called to do though, and luckily we have this, like I talk to my mom almost every day. And FaceTime and stuff like that. Let's see, any Terry Pratchett. Blaine, gotta go. Thanks a million. Your pleasure. My pleasure. Say hi to the books. Please say the books again. Which ones? Like the fantasy books? Game of Thrones, Lord of the Rings, the Wheel of Time series, Harry Potter series, George R. Martin series. I used to read all the Tor books and Dragonlance books. Read like all those, and gosh, yeah, those are some of them. I think that's the ones you're mentioning. All right, we're done there. I'm gonna go here and see. There's a couple. Wow. Okay, let's see. Ontario, appreciate you. My pleasure. Rocket Sauce. Struggle with fruits. I'm thinking doing wild rice and rye oats in the future. I already started buckwheat at times and giving me tummy fit. So yeah, what I find most of the time when people have a hard time with fruit is often it's due to either poor food combining, underripe fruit, or otherwise being on a higher fat diet, like eating more than 15% of your calories from fat. And what this does is it lowers our insulin function, and your body's intelligence actually creates a situation where we don't desire or appreciate sweet fruit nearly as much. After a couple of days or a week of no fat, your insulin function sharpens and fruit becomes even more enjoyable. And the other thing too is like making sure that you have fruit only on an empty stomach, like a completely empty stomach. And that it's really ripe, you chew it well, and that it's fruit you really, really enjoy. Ripe for most people is underripe, so like genuinely very, very ripe. But more fine-tuned than that, we could talk one-on-one. Other things, yeah, like wild rice or buckwheat, or sprouted lentils. Those can be an option to get in more calories. And yeah, there are multiple ways of doing it. But what I've seen work the best is finding balance with a fruit-based raw food lifestyle and including a lot of it, but focusing on the things I mentioned. And again, so often it is the higher fat, and otherwise it's specifically really focusing on the lower calorie fruits rather than the high calorie fruits, and it's hard to get enough. But Worst accident I ever had was skateboarding, landing straight on my head. Yeah, I've done that twice. Never got back. I broke my wrist 4 times, cracked my ribs 3 times, and dislocated my thumb a while ago. A couple concussions. It hits you. It hits you. It's it'll bite you. Didn't know you were from Canada. You're still in BC. No, I live in Sweden. Yeah. So I moved away from BC in 2004. No, wait. I moved away originally in 2004, and then I went back to it. Must have been in 2008 or something, or 9, and then I moved away again. Yeah, I got to think on the timeline. I get emails from them. I think they seem to know what they're talking about. Yeah, Dr. Rick and Karenina, they're great. Want to be a coach someday, but I'm still overweight and struggle to stay raw. You know, you're in the place. You know, with the bundle, and continue to eat more raw foods, and growing through exactly what you're growing through is going to be what's going to help make you an amazing coach. And you already obviously know more than a lot of people, and being a light in that way, with your example, and sharing with people who have questions, stuff that's the way to start. That's what I did. Flatlander, recognize your name. Ah, Flatlander. Huh. I didn't read the Flatlander books. Flatlander? It does ring a bell. That name did ring a bell, but I didn't read those. I did read one of those. It's a cool book. There was a movie made out of it kind of recently, like 7 years ago. It's pretty cool. Yeah. Peterson was some of the last, J.R. Peterson, some of the last books I read that, like Reacher books, I read those like 7 years ago or something, on holidays with family. Similar, struggled raw for years. Nutrition is so important. As a 33-year-old nurse, amazing how small a role any diet has played in the care of patients over the years. So grateful to hear plant-based doctors become popular. Absolutely, yeah. It is amazing, and it's amazing because people are so far off base. Like eating things that are called foods that are just really products. And yeah, it's lifestyle. We fall apart, but it doesn't have to be that way. It's beautiful to see more and more people with evidence. Yeah, usually when falling off the wagon, often it's high fat or just under calorie. A lot of times that's what it is. The most common reason people fall off the raw food diet is not eating enough calories, and there's various reasons for that, but often it comes down to caloric density, overdoing fat, or also sometimes it just can be mindset or lack of knowledge, or fear, or not having the recipes and produce that you enjoy, stuff like that. But Sophie, very genuine. Some of the most famous raw foodists are, I won't say that just in case. Refreshing to know one that's properly. Well, my pleasure. I try and do my best. Yeah, I haven't been invited. I haven't been invited to that club, so yeah. Well, all of a sudden I'll start changing totally because I'll get invited one. I don't think so. Have you tried intermittent fasting? Would you recommend being raw vegan? It's a great question. I naturally do, but it's not because I want to intermittent fast. It's because I'm genuinely not hungry until usually 3 or 4 hours after I wake up, and I follow hunger. I don't recommend intermittent fasting on a raw food diet from the perspective of specifically going, I have this eating window and I'm going to stick to it. And even if you're hungry, like, nope, I'm going to wait for this eating window. Most raw foodists, once they are able to eat enough calories consistently, so they eventually kind of start to go to bigger meals and slightly smaller windows. But most people on a raw food diet have a hard time getting in enough calories, and trying to make it harder by shortening the window. It actually is disastrous for a lot of people, and just ends up having, bringing poor digestion and, making it even harder to get enough calories. And most of the reason why people, I believe, have such good benefits and are driven more towards intermittent fasting on other lifestyles is because they're eating such an unnatural diet that it's way too easy to get too much calories. So by shortening the eating window, they naturally get less calories and give their body a break from digesting those hard to digest foods, right? So I don't really hungry. Sometimes that results in a shortened eating window, but not purposefully, if you get what I'm saying. So I have not read much. Last book I read was Ocean Gospel. The Seeing Gospels of Peace. Those are great books. I read those ones. I'm aiming not to eat past 6 in the moment. Yeah, I mean, Yeah, I think my last one. Are you gonna get any more tattoos? Yeah, maybe. I might. I have a couple ideas. I have the chakras from my root chakra all the way up to my throat. Throat's pretty open, but that's where I'm at. Once my third. I'm not going to assume anything. I'm not rushing to anything, but I'm not too sure. So if we, yeah, it may take some fruit hunting and just also growing in the way to find your fruit. I mean, I'm not saying it's impossible. I know that there are some places like smaller cities and small towns that have a hard time, but I've traveled the world in like 30 countries all over the place, and everywhere I've gone, I've been able to find good food. When I search it, talk to people and stuff like that. So hopefully you find some, and you source some, and you talk to more people and all that stuff. Aiming for 15%, and that's a pretty decent amount. I feel my best under 10 or around 10, but I go up to 15 sometimes too. Starter lentils give you gas. Yeah, well, sometimes gas is fun. Are all my tattoos vegan? I should have brought some water here. And all of them were vegan, and that was actually with this one, my vegan tattoo. And the tattoos could be vegan or weren't vegan, and then all of them were vegan, and that was actually with this one, my vegan tattoo. And my sleeves and my chest and my back, my entire back is all. But I have some older ones that's vegan too. I got my first tattoo when I was 16. I'm 42 now, so. Not sure why Doug Graham would choose UK to live, but guessing he goes on holiday every year. Yeah, he does. I mean, it's where his wife is from, and they raised their daughter there, so that's why. Gooch tattoo is funny. Yeah, thank you. That video is up on my channel. It's my most popular video by far, and it's pretty funny. What is it called? Perineum tattoo. Yeah, if you want to get up close and personal, it's a pretty funny one. See if there's any more here, and then otherwise I'm gonna cap. This is 2 hours. Wow, this is we got a couple more. So YouTube people, last comments, you get one more each. That's it, and otherwise you can. Okay, so there we are. Raw fruits for the newbies. Yeah. Love fruit, absolutely. Had bad reception when you first answered. Place titles of book for raw titles of books for raw newbies. 100%. I mean. The Ultimate Rubbing Bundle here, it's in the description below. It's only around to the 11th, 40 books worth over $1,800 for just $50. It's ridiculous. 5-Star Salad Revolution in there by Matt. It's a really thick, great resource. Dr. Rick and Karen Dina's The Dressing Difference has a lot of really good information. And they, in general, are amazing. They have their Mastering Raw Food Nutrition handbook and their course, which is amazing. There's a lot more really, really good information throughout the entire book. Karen Radzi has a book in there with about cystic acne and going into nutrition and what she's learned through that. There's just it doesn't matter what aspect of holistic health and raw food nutrition. There's great information in there and lots of wisdom. Outside the bundle, the number one book I would 100% recommend for anyone, doesn't matter if you're a newbie or if you've been a raw foodist for 30 years but never read it, is the 80-10-10 Diet by Dr. Doug Graham. Bar none, I think it's the best book on human nutrition out there. It's just, to me, really, really well-rounded in the sense of being science-based, common sense-based, and easy to understand, just all wrapped up together, and covers so many aspects of holistic health and nutrition. Just hits as close to the head as possible, pointing towards the moon. And I my favorite book on raw food out there for sure. Let's see. Being overweight will never prevent you from being a good coach. A good coach, never a good coach. I know what you mean. Absolutely, yeah. You'll be very relatable. So many people never speak of your body weight. Yeah, absolutely, I agree. Try fruity and vegetables. Thanks for saying good sample. Absolutely, my pleasure. All right, we're done there. And nice catch live, even though soon. Greetings from Frankfurt. Hey, Ivana. You tried Zen Cleanse, Sophie? No, I will not try the Zen Cleanse. This claim is to remove mucoid plaque. It's one of the oldest ones, that has a history to it, which I'm going to go much more into as well. in a future video, but yeah, I eat a raw food diet. You know, it helps me out. There's no mucoid plaque to cleanse, so I'm not a proponent of mucoid plaque. In fact, I put my reputation on the line saying it does not exist 100%. And people are very mistaken about what's coming out of them. Stuff can come out of people, but it's not old waste that's been in there for years and decades. And people don't all have this crazy dragon inside them, and 20 pounds of impacted waste. People can have diverculitis. The plaque itself doesn't exist, and so there's no need for something like a Zen cleanse. But I'm going to do a complete dedicated video on mucoid plaque, and some people will deny it, but I mean, it's so undeniable. It's ridiculous at this point to me. But yeah, I can't decide if it's a video that's going to be called Debunk Mucoid Plaque or the Mucoid Plaque Conspiracy. What do you guys think? What's a better title? But it's going to go into it. Yeah, a lot of people really talk about it. I mean, it's I think for the absolute most part, people who promote it 100% is you feel so much better and blah blah blah. But it's just not a physiological fact. It's provable that it's not, and it's a misconception, and people just continually pass it on. Misinformation is passed on, and the tough thing about it, and I don't feel great about it, but I know a lot of people utilize it as basically almost part of their livelihood, because it's much easier to tell people like, oh my God, you got this crazy thing, and if you just do this, then it's just gone, and your life can be way better, and you can't do without it. And it's a great sales pitch, and it gets people into a fear state, and it gets them into a place where they're ready to do anything. And people are way more likely to do a short-term protocol than to icing. Like, hey, people can get great effects from that, and I'm not knocking it. It's just built off of a policy, So yeah, my single is getting shaky. Yeah, exactly. It is mainly the product comes out. Well, I mean, the body is self-cleaning, self-organizing, self-detoxifying. And I mean, if you're eating fruits and vegetables, it naturally clears you up. That was one thing I always thought was kind of funny. Like, if you eat high fiber foods, it's like a brush going through your system. And then you get like a Zen cleanse, and it's like high fiber supplements, like and bentonite and stuff like that is like acting as a brush to get things out. But then the same people often say, in order to get the mucoid plaque out, you have to juice, or you have to just drink water. And it's like, and yeah, again, I'll go way more into it in the video. I'll be very honest. I've been planning it for years. I've been interested in the subject for almost 20 years, because even before I went raw, I knew colon hypotherapists. I know some today who are good friends. And it's been something I thought was bull BS, but I try to prove myself both ways, and talk to a lot of doctors and a lot of raw foodists. And raw foodists who are doctors, and long-term fasting practitioners, arguably the longest-term fasting practitioners who have helped the most people. And I've put a lot of time in people, and I've put a lot of time and energy into it. And I've said, like, I'm going to put this video out to some people for almost 2 years, and I plan on putting it out before this year started, and then I plan on putting it out in January, then in February, and then the bundle came along. Anyways, my plan is to get it within a month, but it is on the highest priority, so it'll be coming out. So, yeah, interesting. Yeah, I think there are a couple components to it. Where can I learn to prepare raw food? I'd like to learn how to make delicious raw food with and for my children. The ultimate raw vegan bundle available right now in the link in the description is the absolute best resource to learn, because there's entire food courses, like raw food courses for beginners. There's entire raw food courses for more advanced. There's rest 96% off, but only until the 11th. And it's just a steal of a deal after that, going back to regular price. And we only do this once a year. So this is absolutely the best time to dive into it. 1,000%. Yeah. Well, guys, I think that is it. Can't wait. Yeah, I'm excited for it. Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much, everyone. I helped some people out and brought some new perspectives and ideas and tips and all that live. What time am I going live? Tomorrow is Saturday, isn't it? Yeah. Free and Writer, Secrets of the Journey. And then tomorrow at 9 a.m. PST, 6 p.m. for me, going live with Victoria, Raw Vegan CEO here. And we're going to be doing a live food demo. I'm going to be making my savory Irish stew raw recipe, which is one of my favorites from my new book. So hope you guys join me then. Astral hugs back to you. So much love, Flatlander. Thank you so much. Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you, Flatlander. Vegan Bible, all raw food oriented. There is fitness, there is yoga, there is mindset, but all the recipes are strictly like Lissa's wraps and my stews, and Enzyme's got some really crazy things I made in that Connie's the other day. Sky's got some amazing. Roya, there's so many amazing people in here, great, sharing their favorites, their best, and it's awesome. It's really join me in some other lives, and yeah, have an amazing time. Enjoy some other lives with all the other creators, and hopefully see you guys out there at some fruit fest or anything like that. Ronnie Smith, he's got his fruit. Oh gosh, I missed that completely. I was going to go actually to Fruity Fridays. Oops, that's a cool resource. Ronnie Smith, UK Fruit Fest, he has a thing called Fruity Fridays. Every Friday, it's like an online community coming together and having special speakers and otherwise just coming together and talking. So check him out. He's got a book in the bundle going into all the different fruit festivals around the world. There's a bunch of them, going to history of fruit festivals around the world. There's a bunch of them, going to history of them. So you can find places to go join like-minded people. So, yes. Well, much love, everyone. Have an awesome one. I'm going to end the stream here. See you, YouTube. And